On this edition of Early Look, I'm going to be previewing the welterweight fight as part of UFC 322 between Sean Brady and Michael Morales. My name is James Lynch. If you've never watched the show before, I'm going to go through a bunch of different stats and data points. Then I'm going to give you my prediction for this fight at the end. Let me know in the comments after you're done watching the video what your prediction is for this fight. We're also going to use some AI stuff towards the end as well. I've been doing that on some of these videos. And this fight was actually requested by one of my audience members. I wasn't sure if I should do one, but a lot of you are interested in this fight, as am I. But sometimes, I don't know if people are going to want to watch this stuff. So let's do a quick tail of the tape between these two. This is just a 3-round fight. By the way, if you're looking for Carlos Prates and Leon Edwards, Islam and JDM, Valentina and Weili Zhang, those are already done. So this is sort of the last of the bunch that I'm going to be doing for UFC 322. I mentioned it there. 3-round fight. Sean Brady, 18-1. Michael Morales, 18-0. 32-26. 5'10" to 6 feet tall. 72 to 79. So Morales is going to be a lot younger. He's also going to be bigger in this spot too. But let's start first with Sean Brady, as he looks to get one step closer to a title shot here. And props to Brady for taking this fight. I mean, if you look at the rankings, I think he's ranked number, 5, and Morales is ranked lower than him. So Brady taking this fight. I think some people felt like maybe he was going to get a higher opponent here, but here we are. So Sean Brady, like I mentioned there, 18-1. He's got 3 knockouts, 6 submissions, and 8 decisions. He's currently ranked number 5 in the division. 32 years old, 5'10" with a 72.5-inch reach. Is a BJJ black belt under Daniel Gracie. He's got performance of the night 3 times against Christian Aguilera, Kelvin Gastelum, and Leon Edwards. Made his amateur debut way back in August of 2012. Made his pro debut in August of 2014. Made his UFC debut in October of 2019. October seems to be a good month for Sean Brady. It seems, as far as his career goes. He's 8-1 in the UFC. He's got 3 stoppage victories. Some notable wins include Michael Chiesa, Kelvin Gastelum, Gilbert Burns, and Leon Edwards. He's also just has the 1 loss there to Bilal Muhammad. That was back in October of 2022. It's also the only time he's ever been finished in a fight as well. He's had a bunch of layoffs in his career. I think this is worth mentioning. Who knows where his career would be if things were a little bit different. Going from Bilal Muhammad to Kelvin Gastelum, there was a 406-day layoff. That was the longest of his career. Going from Kelvin Gastelum to Gilbert Burns, there was a 280-day layoff. And then going from Gilbert Burns to Leon Edwards, there was a 196-day layoff. So the shortest layoff of his career between fights. And if you look at it there, this is actually going to be the first time that Brady has fought in the same calendar year since, I think, 2022. No, it's even before that, because again, it was pretty much just once a year. Fights Edwards this year, he'll be fighting Morales. Year before was Burns. Gastelum was 2023. Bilal Muhammad was 2022. Michael Chiesa was 2021. 2021 would have been the last time Brady's fought 2 times in the same calendar year. Just something to notice when it comes to activity levels. Of course, Brady's had some injuries and some other things. Remember, he had the undisclosed injury against Kevin Lee. He had the groin injury that where he was supposed to fight Michel Pereira back in March of 2023. He also was supposed to have that fight against Jack Della Maddalena back in 2023 for UFC 290, but he ended up getting staph infection. That was the one where Della Maddalena ended up not fighting on that card either. He ends up fighting Basil Hafez later on. So a lot of stuff going on there. Brady's never been in any close fights. All of his decision wins were pretty decisive. Let's go look at Brady's stats. If you look at it there, significant strikes landed per minute is 4.0. Striking accuracy is at 55%. His striking defense is at 59%, so he doesn't get hit that much. Takedown average 3.62. Takedown accuracy 54%. His takedown defense is 86%, although I don't think Morales is going to be shooting for a takedown here. And his sub average is 0.9. And I mentioned it there. Again, when it comes to Brady, most of his wins coming by decision, 9 total. He's also got 6 submission victories as well. Not much of a knockout guy, only 3 knockouts to his credit. So that's everything you need to know about Sean Brady. Let's have a closer look at his opponent, Michael Morales. So let's get into him real quick. And I mentioned it there. He's undefeated at 18-0, currently ranked number 8 in the welterweight division. He's 26 years old, 6'3" with a 74-inch reach. So he's 6 years younger and will have a 2-inch height and 6.5-inch reach advantage. That could be interesting, obviously, for a striker like himself. That's a very good asset to have, that nice reach advantage. He's got performance of the night 2 times against Neil Magny and Gilbert Burns. Did not have an amateur debut, went straight to the pros in August of 2017, made his UFC debut in January of 2022. And by that time, just to give you some context here, by the time he made his UFC debut, Sean Brady already had 5 fights in the UFC. So Brady a little bit ahead in that department, but he's also a lot older. Morales is 6-0. The only notable wins he has in his career are Neil Magny and Gilbert Burns. And when I say notable, I mean like fighters that were ranked or fighters that, people would know. So that's the one thing with Morales. The strength of schedule hasn't been that big on his end, just the 2 wins there over Burns and Magny. He hasn't had any major injuries. He's obviously never had any major, controversial decisions like the Jake Matthews and Max Griffin fights were pretty decisive on Morales' end. He's also had a couple layoffs, just like Sean Brady has. Going from from Adam Fugit to Max Griffin, there was a 336-day layoff. That's the longest of his UFC career. Then going from Jake Matthews to Neil Magny, there was a 311-day layoff. And much like Brady, this will be one of the few times in a while that he's fought twice in the same calendar year. The last time for Morales doing that was back in 2023. Let's look at his stats. Check these out. This is much higher. So Michael Morales, his strikes landed per minute is 5.62. So compare that to Brady, much higher output on the striking end, but that makes sense because Morales is more of a striker. His striking accuracy is at 49%, so doesn't hit as accurately as Sean Brady does. Brady's up at 55. Striking defense is at 53%, so he gets hit a little bit. Takedown average 1.09. Don't think we'll see many in this fight. His takedown accuracy is at 41%. And here's an interesting thing, 89% takedown defense. So that's pretty interesting if Brady's looking to utilize that ground game in the wrestling. He's fighting a guy that has 89% takedown defense, so that's not bad to point out. On best fight odds right now, we do not have odds, but I did look on Twitter, and I do see that fightodds.io currently has Sean Brady, I'm going to find it here, at minus 135, Michael Morales plus 115. So odds are very close, and that makes sense. I do consider this a very close fight. And then looking on Tapology as far as the picks go, 70% of people picking Sean Brady, 30% picking Morales, with the majority of people picking Brady by decision at 55.9%. Michael Morales, 84% of the people that are picking Morales are picking him by knockout. There's also 14.3% picking him by decision. Again, 3-round fight there. And then if we use our AI tools, first using the Fight Signal AI tool, they favor Michael Morales in this fight at 62.39%. 37.61% for Sean Brady. And by the way, if you guys want an AI video on this, just let me know in the comments. I can go through all the data that sort of led to them coming to this conclusion. And then using another AI tool that I've been using recently, Agent MMA, they do have, if we're looking at here, if I read the prediction, it's just going to take a second to come up here. But I believe it was Sean Brady at 55%. I think that's just going to show up here in a second. 55% they favor Sean Brady. So again, just using whatever tools we have at our disposal as far as picking this fight. Okay, so which way am I going on this one? I'm going with Sean Brady. And there's a couple reasons here. I definitely understand people picking Morales because, again, Brady's only loss was by knockout against a guy in Bilal Muhammad who's not really known for knocking his opponents out. And Morales hits like an absolute truck. Like, I will say this. I think that Sean Brady is fighting the heaviest puncher he's fought in his career. But on the flip side, I think Morales is fighting the best wrestler, grappler, and probably all-around fighter that he's fought in his career. And let's dig into why I'm going Brady by decision. Okay, so first and foremost, I mentioned the stats there. 50% of Brady's wins are by decision. He typically does go the distance as opposed to finishing his fights, especially in the UFC. If you look in the UFC, he doesn't have many stoppage wins, although he did get a 4th-round submission win against Leon Edwards in his last fight. Brady has 59% striking defense. I like those numbers there, even though Morales has a lot of good power and output. It's also, he's only got 3 rounds to knock him out. I think the chances of a knockout here by Morales are a little bit slimmer because the fight's not going more than 3 rounds, although saying that, Bilal Muhammad did knock out Sean Brady in within 3 rounds as well. I mentioned it there. I think Brady is the best wrestler, grappler that he's fought at this point. And I'd also argue that Sean Brady has fought better opposition. I mentioned some of those notable wins here. Not by a lot, but, in particular, the Edwards, they have that common opponent in Gilbert Burns. Obviously, Morales knocked him out. Sean Brady took him to a decision. But yeah, the Leon Edwards win and Kelvin Gastelum. I know Gastelum's not like amazing or anything, but the fact that he submitted him in the 3rd round there, I thought was very, very impressive. Michael Chiesa at one point was ranked. Jake Matthews, I know there was a couple years back, but Matthews is a guy that's been sort of hovering around the rankings as well. So I consider that a fairly good win too. For Morales, and one other thing I just wanted to point out with Brady is just that Leon Edwards fight was not competitive at all. Now we'll see how he looks against Carlos Prates. Maybe we're seeing a decline of Leon Edwards, but I mean, this was such a beatdown in this fight. Where was the if you look at the stats for the Sean Brady and Leon Edwards fight, I mean, look at this. This was incredible. 221 significant strikes to 23 for Leon Edwards. And it's not like Edwards is like just a grappling guy. Like, he has stand-up too. So the fact that Brady outstruck him by that much is very impressive. You won't be able to do that against Michael Morales, but still very impressive. I thought this was sort of the breakthrough fight here for Sean Brady, because I think going in, people were favoring Brady, but it wasn't a guarantee. And it was just a lopsided, one-sided fight against Leon Edwards, if you look at it there. I mean, again, these stats really do favor what Sean Brady did. And again, Brady in the blue, other than that first round, he pretty much took over. I mean, look at this. Round 2, 0% for Leon Edwards. So, MMA math doesn't, mean everything. Not that Morales has fought Edwards, but, you can't base everything off one fight. But I was just super impressed by that fight there as well. Now, I will say Brady will have to worry about the fact that, like I said, I think this is the hardest puncher he's fought, and the height and reach. That is a bit concerning, that big reach advantage there for Morales, not to mention that he's a lot younger. But with that, I don't think Morales is as accomplished. Now, one thing I think is worth noting here, if you look at Morales' best wins, they're against, his two best wins are Gilbert Burns and Neil Magny, two fighters who happen to be over the age of 35. Like, I think he's catching these guys, and I know Magny's come off some wins since then, but I mean, you know, I think Sean Brady would probably do the same thing to Magny. Maybe not a first round finish, but he would probably dominate that fight. So I don't put too much stock into that. And Gilbert Burns, again, he was 38 when he fought him. Like, is that really like a good, is that the same Gilbert Burns that Brady fought? Probably not. So that I kind of look at those things too, not to mention the fact that Morales couldn't finish Jake Matthews, whereas Sean Brady did. Now, again, different Jake Matthews. If anything, I'd say this Jake Matthews is probably better than the Jake Matthews that Brady fought. So yeah, it took him to a decision, couldn't finish him. And then his only other stoppage win, couple other stoppage wins are, you know, Trevin Giles and Adam Fugiu, who aren't even in the UFC anymore. So I think this is kind of a case of, if you're going with Morales, you're almost guessing that the potential is going to be there. And Brady's right now in the prime of his career. I just can't bank on a Michael Morales knockout in this case. And that's where I have to give the edge to Sean Brady. So yeah, I'm going to go Brady decision on this one. And I think he gets it done. And I think this is a fight that either gets him a title shot or gets something very close to a title. But yeah, going to be a great fight. Again, this card is amazing. UFC 322. Can't wait for this one. So let me know in the comments which way you're leaning. Who are you picking? Let me know. And I want to get your prediction for this fight. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, @Lynch on Sports. My name is James Lynch. Thanks so much for watching. This is Early Look, and I'll talk to you guys soon.